Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Henny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From the original walk-ons, Burbank at Nicholson. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Live at Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro. Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Glad you're with us here. We got a lot of stuff going on today. First of all, Coach Danny Bryan is going to join us today. LSU tennis regionals for both the men and the women going on this weekend. Jimmy, I know you've already been out to some matches this year, and both the men and the women's kind of a staggered regional. And Coach Bryan's going to be here to talk with us a little bit later.
Yeah, so the women will start tomorrow. They'll have two matches. It's single elimination, 64 teams, not 76, but 64, and so they will play on Friday the semis. I'm sorry, the men. The men will play on Friday the semis, and then the women on Saturday will play the semis, followed by the men's final, or the round of 32 game, 32 match, and then it'll be the women's final. So not sure if they have some weather. They do have indoor facility now, so if they move in, but it's very inexpensive. I think it's $5 to get in. Concessions are available, real good stuff. But man, for both the men and the women, I can't remember, when they host a regional period, much less both of them. So it's really, really exciting stuff. And the men are set. If they do advance, they will host next week's super regional round. It'll be just a, two-team match. They're the 7. They'd be matched up with the 10 host, and just the opposite. The women are the 10. They'll be matched up with the 7. If the 7 doesn't advance, they will be able to host. But if form holds, the men will host the super, and the women will not. But
appreciate them doing the same format.
The women, they're not going to see a tougher draw than what they saw in the in Norman,
SEC,
for the SEC tournament, and they were, a tiebreaker away from winning the whole thing, knocking off 2 top 5, 3 or 4 top 10 teams along the way. So really, including the host, Oklahoma. So really fun stuff, man, this weekend, looking for something to do in town.
Happy Paul Skeens Day to those who celebrate. We watched Skeens on opening day from right here, Jimmy. We were at walk-ons that day, and he got shelled. He did not get out of the first inning. Well, he didn't get out of the first inning.
The box score tells you that.
The center fielder misplayed a couple of balls, but he didn't get out of the first. Gave up 5 earned runs. Since then, he's given up 3 in 5 starts. In 28 and a third innings since opening day, he's given up 3 runs, 5 walks, and 10 hits. 5 walks and 10 hits in 28 and a third innings pitched is a whip that is significantly below 1.
Huge pitching advantage here. St. Louis has thrown a rookie out there today, but damage is done for the Pirates this weekend. And that was my only loser in Otterlocks last night. We went 3-1, and with the runner on, down 1 in the 9th, they hit one to the wall. And, the left fielder makes a catch. I thought it was definitely out, but it wasn't. They have lost the first 3 games at home to St. Louis. St. Louis got some young players playing, including a 2-0 lead in the 9th in the first game. And so that bullpen is just an Achilles heel. Kind of a story. So last year, the Pirates really got beat up by the divisional rivals in the NL Central. This year, coming into this series against St. Louis, they had won all 3. They beat Milwaukee on the road in a series. They beat the Cubs in Wrigley Field in a series. They beat the Reds. So they had won all 3 of their divisional series, and their Skeens is trying to avoid getting a 4-game sweep at home. So they're in last place, but last place in the NL Central, still multiple games above 500. And that's not just the NL Central, but it's the whole National League. The National Leagues, they are dominating the American League. Just dominating. So, like San Diego and Los Angeles in the West. So you look at Atlanta with the best record, that cashes if you had that for both because some sports books put just April, and some put the last week of March/April. Well, they want them both. Mm-hmm. They have the best record by multiple games going into the last day of April today, and they clearly have the best record in April as well. So the Braves are on. Man, the Phillies and Mets are 11 games back. Wow. 11 games back, man. I mean, I know it's early, but dog, that's a tough hole. And they
not made till tomorrow.
They beat Schoolboy yesterday. They're going for their own 4-game sweep today at home, the Braves. So Braves are just, they had a lot of injuries last year, and so Sale looks healthy. So they're just really getting it all over. Acuna is great. So Atlanta going for a 4-game sweep. 7 games. 7 games start between 11:15 and 12:30 today in Major League Baseball.
Colucci's with us at the bottom of the hour. Kentucky Derby is Saturday. We've had a second scratch this morning. Full Effort is now out along with Silent Tactic. Great White and Ocelli get into the field. Colucci, I'm sure, is all over that. We'll get his thoughts on
Seminar Colucci.
Seminar Colucci.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a professor?
Tomorrow night. Yeah, I guess.
Instructor? Teacher?
Something like that.
Yeah,
so,
give us some bets.
But he
on the
does
Derby.
do an annual Friday night handicapping seminar. That's Friday night. That's the story this year. So record viewership last year for the Derby. We know that live sporting events it's something kind of the big races are drawing a little bit of attention, and they are moving the Oaks, which is the 3-year-old fillies race on Friday. You drink the Lilies, Charlie. That's some vodka and cranberry juice. They come out pink, and everybody's wearing pink, the men and the women. It's, for breast cancer awareness as well. So it's a big foundation. So it's a monster day. NBC programming, 7 to 8 p.m. Central Time, the Oaks. So they're moving it to the night. They'll be going for about 11:30 is first, our time, 11:30. So 11:30 to 7:30, we're looking at 8 hours of racing. Churchill Downs tomorrow, but prime time for the Oaks tomorrow night.
Interesting game in the SEC tonight in baseball. Just tell me what you think about this. And we did the podcast for Bet Rivers earlier today. Alabama's in a unique position if you're following the rest of the SEC. And I know some of you lose interest in this stuff once LSU is not in contention, but Alabama is one of the strangest situations I've seen. They have the number 6 RPI team in the country. They have the most Q1 wins out of anybody in the country, tied with Florida and Georgia Tech, and they have a losing record in conference. They have the same record in conference as Vanderbilt, who they're playing tonight in Tuscaloosa. They're both 10 and 11, but Vanderbilt has an RPI of 65. And 64, and Alabama has an RPI of 6. The RPI tells you that they are not only in contention to be a host site, but a top 8 national seed. The Q1 wins certainly put them in position for that, but they got a losing record, and I think they got to win 6 out of 9, even with that RPI, to be a host site. So an interesting game for Alabama tonight if you're watching SEC baseball.
It's surprising. First of all, I would venture to say Alabama probably hasn't played South Carolina or Missouri. I would guess, and because the other thing is, if you tell me Florida,
they have not, but they play South Carolina next week.
Okay, so but not to this point,
right?
And you tell me Florida playing in the SEC, and also all those smaller directional schools in Florida, which are so much better than a lot of those schools around the country, and because there's so many players in Florida. I would say, okay, yeah, Florida's NET or RPI is going to be. Alabama? That's surprising. So, Samford? I mean, really? I mean, South Alabama? I mean, certainly not what they used to be. I mean, so some of the in-state, some SWAC schools.
Well, they played Southern Miss. Which is
how many times?
Well, just once,
okay.
But it's a Q1. They also played,
without a doubt.
They played Oregon State non-conference, which is a Q1. They played Jacksonville State on the road, which is a Q1, and they played UAB at a neutral site, which was a Q1. In fact, they played Jacksonville State
UAB
twice.
and Jacksonville State are in-state competition that are better than normal.
Yeah, and South Alabama and Samford are Q2.
So
not bad.
So
not bad.
The surrounding teams, like Southern Miss, Jacksonville State, UAB are stronger. They haven't played the weaker teams in the SEC, and so there you have it. But yeah, that's still very surprising because I saw that their RPI was at, entering conference play and stuff, but I thought for sure it would kind of go down. But it's still maintaining, even though they've been less than 500 in conference play.
9 SEC teams in the top 19 in the RPIs with 3 weeks to go in the regular season. They're not all going to host.
Not in the 19?
Yeah, they're not all going to host. And Georgia, who's –
Would you say, Charlie, how many will host? Give four of the top 8 national seeds, maybe 3 or 4?
4 of the top 8, and I'm going to say 7 probably.
Okay.
But, for instance, out of the 9 SEC teams that are ranked in the top 19 in the RPIs, you know who's the lowest? Georgia. They're leading the league, and they're 19th in the RPIs.
Have they played Missouri and South Carolina? I know they played South Carolina. I'm pretty sure they did.
They swept South Carolina, and they're playing Missouri this weekend.
Okay.
They're
in LSU.
They play Missouri and LSU at home back-to-back the next 2 weeks.
What's LSU's RPI now?
LSU's RPI is 61.
61.
Yeah. Georgia is set up, even with the 19 RPI, with a 15-6 record in SEC play and 6 games coming up against the bottom 2 teams in the league at home in Athens. Yeah, I would say the Bulldogs, even though they're the bottom team out of these 9 RPI teams in the SEC, they're set up.
Charlie's hot, 5-0, 5-1, based on if you still played a PPD game last week. So on the podcast, so every Thursday morning we put out it's a 3-pack of SEC baseball games and projecting some of the lines for tomorrow. So there's some little give and take with that, but it's just kind of part of it. But they're up right now, College Sports Rush YouTube channel. So and I'll retweet it when they post it on Twitter.
All right, we're here at Walk-Ons.
A couple things. Skeens plus 175 is still the leader right now for NL Cy Young.
Okay.
Second closest choice is Yamamoto from the Dodgers plus 450. Chris Sanchez 650. 2 years ago, Chris Sale, who beat out Skeens at plus 750. He looks good. And Ohtani has the lowest ERA in the history of Major League Baseball through 6 starts.
Wow.
They've been playing baseball for a while, huh?
Yeah, that's
0.6.
That's a pretty significant
0.6, and he's 5th at 8-1.
Wow.
He has made it clear through his interpreter. He said, "I want that award."
Yeah.
But interesting.
Well,
huh?
nobody's ever won the Cy Young, and we've had Cy Young Award winners win the MVP, but not ones that hit.
No. Yeah. Well, MVP, he is a favorite at minus 350.
Yeah.
Acuna, second choice, 14-1.
And before you tell people what's going on at Walk-Ons, at the Cadillac, a couple things going on here. First of all, we had
someone to talk about that too.
The parlay of Scheffler and Young in the top 10, they're both on the lead at minus 3. There's 5 golfers on the lead at minus 3, including Tom Hoge. Did I not hear Max say something about Hoge yesterday?
Homa. Max Homa.
Oh, he said Homa. Okay, well, then throw out Hoge. But the Scheffler and Young thing, my bad. But Scheffler and Young are both tied for the lead.
Today, Justin Rose, he's 1 under through Brian
New
Harmon.
clubs and all, huh?
Brian Harmon. Brian Harmon, Cameron Young, Scotty Scheffler, and Tom Hoge, and David Lipsky, a 5-way tie. So the Scheffler and Young, though, have played the fewest holes. So they're basically the leaders right now through 6. Harmon's through 8, Hoge through 14, and Lipsky through 12. Keith Mitchell, the first-round wonder, leads a host of golfers at 2 under. But, yes, the West Reynolds parlay that at the Queen and Bally's here in town pay plus 180. The top 10 off to a very solid start. And finally, Scheffler, he's a third of the way through his first round, but he's just been burying himself, just digging these holes for him in his first round. Might not be the case. That might be a sign of things to come if he starts hot, because he usually fixes it either on Friday or Saturday.
All right, what's going on at Walk-Ons?
Well, it's a great place to go if you're going to tennis this weekend. So it's before and after. You got some rain delays or whatever it is, but man, it's even if you're the most casual tennis observer, this is high-level stuff, a lot on the line, and it's so intimate. You are right there on the courts. It is just really, really fun stuff. And when the singles are happening, Joe, there's 6 matches at once. 6 matches at once. You talk about, wait a minute, I don't want to go to the game because I want to watch all the matches. No, you're watching all the matches at the 3 doubles courts at once, 6 singles courts. They've got all of the scoreboards on each, so you know exactly what's going on. It is for the low attention spans. So, man, it's
a lot of that out there.
Get you a beer or some popcorn, man. Watch some good. It's a lot of fun. So we have Danny Bryan interested to talk to him about it because both teams have a real shot of advancing.
Live at the original Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show's available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. Handycast up on YouTube on LSU Baseball. And it's brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating 90 years in business in 2026. Supporting our Louisiana farmers, go to SupremeRice.com. Last night in the association, 3 games, the Pistons take or stay alive, rather, with a 116-109 win against the Magic. Let's start there, Jimmy. The 2 superstars put on a show in this one. Banchero and Cunningham each with 45. But this hasn't felt anything from the very beginning of Game 1. This hasn't felt like an 8-1. Still doesn't. But the Pistons stay alive.
You know, even without Wagner, who's got a calf strain, and, man, the calf strains are usually leading. And a lot of them will lead to these Achilles tendon injuries, so they're going to be careful with him, even in an exhale spot. This is just a major, major matchup issue for the Pistons because, you know, Cunningham scores 45. And Charlie shot the ball 5 of 8 from 3, 13 of 23 from the floor, 14 of 14 from the free throw line. I mean, it wasn't like just some stat chasing volume shooter. And Banchero on the other side too, 17 of 31 from the floor. This is when, man, it is hard to shoot 50%. You know, in the playoffs, very few teams shoot 50%. I would say roughly 15 to 20% of all teams would shoot 50% as a team, and these guys were lighting it up. And 6 of 11 from 3 for Banchero. So they still. Desmond Bain hit 4 3-pointers. It just seems like a really, really tough matchup. But the Pistons do survive. It wasn't pretty. They didn't come close to covering. It was around a number late, all of them. But all three dogs covered the point spread last night. But, man, going back to Orlando, there's just not a whole lot of help. And it's a classic case where a guy like Duren for the Pistons, who's first-team All-NBA, is just his point production is cut in half in the postseason. We talk about when the defensive intensity picks up, the guys that can create their own shot without a problem, it decreases steadily. He's one of these guys because he's not close to producing, and it's Cunningham by himself. So, I mean, to expect Cunningham to do that, you know, consistently, it's not realistic. So I still think the Pistons are in big trouble. How about this? So when we talked about the first 2 days, that Saturday and Sunday, where 7 of the 8 favorites won by big numbers, the higher seeds, and all were double-digit. 6 of the 8 series are going 6 games. 6 of the 8, and that is you got a Game 6 triple header tonight and tomorrow night.
Let me ask this about the Pistons. We talked about how their bad matchup with Orlando, but if they were to win this series, are they a threat to advance? Or are they a flawed team? Are they a team that's built for the regular
season?
They're flawed
roster, Charlie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just that they got after it. They played. It's admirable because we really. It's so rare that teams just play so hard during the regular season, but that's what they were. And we've seen this from time to time, and that's why I identified them early as a team that, you know, win the divisions. You know, those hungrier teams, the Spurs, the more accomplished teams kind of pace themselves for the postseason. And load management is gotten such a bad run, but load management to a degree, you want to have it as an experience. It's a long-ass season when you talk about the playoffs. Man, with 7-game first-round series, I mean, as well, if you're going to make a deep run, and keep in mind, the more respected organizations started it, so many other players have abused it since then.
Yeah.
But it was the Spurs and Popovich.
Well, and the reason I ask is because a lot of times we've seen it's first time is number one seed. All right, so you got to get it there and lose. You got to get some experience. But it's not like they don't have any playoff experience. Tobias Harris and Duncan Robinson are vets. These guys are in their 30s. These guys have played a lot of playoff basketball.
I'm surprised Robinson is.
They're both past their prime, but they're playoff experienced.
Yeah, but like you said, that's not their stars for the regular season.
No,
I mean you asked me if they fought absolutely.
No, okay.
And keep in mind, I mean, Magic was but it's the physicality. See, the Detroit, what they did, they will defend you and they will bang with you. Okay, and Duran, that's his game. That's when they'll bang with you. Magic is very physical. And if anything, their physicality has really thrown Detroit off in this series. That's not going away. I mean, to win by as little as they did last night with Cunningham going off. Now, Boncaro's not going to do that every night either. Okay,
right.
But it's I think Detroit's in a lot of trouble.
The home court still perfect in the Cavs-Raptors series. Cavs go to 3-2 with that win. Brandon Ingram, 11 minutes. He left the game. Did not return. Only had 1 point last night. I don't know if that was the difference.
He is in a major shooting slump right now.
Yeah. Well, it's the playoffs.
Yeah. Well.
We've seen him in the playoffs
I've seen him,
before,
man. I saw him in that Phoenix game, man. He was just unbelievable.
And I saw him in that Oklahoma City series, and I know Lou Dort is really good defensively, but I saw him get locked up in OKC.
I mean, he's just.
You're right about that Phoenix series, though. He was terrific. That's, 4 years ago now?
Yeah, he is a collective, let's see, 11, 19, 20, 30, 19 for 58.
Yeah.
That's twos and threes.
They got 1 point out of him last night. He left after 11 minutes. So
0 for 2 from the floor, but it's Charlie, to where they're even in mid range, like about 18 feet and stuff like that. They kind of like letting him shoot. Where have you seen that with Brandon Ingram? I mean, he's never been able to stretch that mid range game out to 3-point range as much as we would like, as much as he would like. But mid-range, you better get on him. I mean, he can knock him down with you. He's not there. So he's just going through a tremendous shooting slump right now. But Toronto's showing some stuff here. And, like, how many points do they have at half? Toronto?
74.
Is that winning? Is that playoff winning basketball?
No.
I mean, so, and even Barkley at halftime goes, I want to apologize to the public for picking Cavaliers to win it all. I mean, you can't. Well, Charles said they're winning. I don't care. Well,
he knows. He knows that this is something they can get through this series with. It looks like it's going 7, and the home team's going to prevail. That's the way it's been for 5 games.
And this is a team that was flawed last year, that had the number 1 seed last year and couldn't get past the second round. And so they what piece can we get? Harden. Well, they swung. They took a chance, but it just doesn't seem.
He didn't play bad last night.
What's that?
He didn't play bad last night. He shot the ball fairly well. I mean, he was.
I know, but have we seen him? A lot of put. I'm saying
it's feast or famine with him.
They're trying. Okay, I get it. But we've seen him really go into a funk in some of the, and not just for but like at critical junctures of tight games, like big games. So we'll see.
Rockets beat the Lakers by 6. They were down 3-0 in this series. It's now 3-2. Kevin Durant did not play in this game. Some of the young guys really Reed Shepherd had 2 monster buckets late in this one. 3-2 going back to L.A. Durant's already been ruled out of Game 6, but this is starting to feel like the Rockets have a chance to do something that no team in NBA history has done, which is come back from 0-3 and win the series. It's 4 times a team's come back from 0-3 to tie it, most recently the Celtics in 23 against the Heat, but all of them lost in Game 7. The Rockets, once again, the favorites in this series, even though they're down a game, or no? I'm asking you. In your head, not the odds, but.
Well, Austin Reeves came back. He was an instant production out of him, but over the course, 22 points, all that's good, but 4 of 16 from the floor. So that's not good. Torrey Eason, got to give him a little credit as well. Now, James had 25 points, but Eason did enough to kind of keep him in check. Jabari Smith Jr., you know, I mean, a former high pick. I mean, he had 22 points. And I mean, who is going to score? Torrey Eason had 18. He was the second leading scorer for him. So Sengun was able to get some points down. But, yeah, something out of Shepard, who hasn't been – sometimes is not even on the floor a lot of this time. But it's still smoke and mirrors offensively without Durant, with Reeves back. I think it's going to be a very, very tight Game 6 tomorrow night. So I think the Lakers have a real shot at beating it. It's funny. I would still think it's about like a toss-up between these two teams. I mean,
you have a hard time finding a bet on
I'm interested to see what the series price is.
All right. We're here at Walk-Ons right next to campus.
Yeah, don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings, 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional service is what you get when you call 296-0060. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at the original Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's time. It's now Colucci time. Dwayne Colucci is back to give his best picks on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, let's go out to Las Vegas. It's Derby time. Colucci, how you doing, buddy?
What's going on, Jimmy? How you been today?
I'm doing great, man. Fill us in real quick before we get caught up about your seminar tomorrow. Now, you guys going to be going head up because with the Oaks, with the prime time, moving at that stuff, or just tell folks who went to in Vegas about your annual Derby seminar.
Yeah, our annual Derby seminar will start after the Oaks. It should be, we usually open the doors at 5:30, but we'll start a little later, 6:30 this year. The Oaks pushing it back. I just don't know the thought process at times. Anything to damage anything with horse racing. Now, you got to get up the next morning. You got to be prepared if you go into the Derby. And what they're doing, just keeping people, out all hours of the night, especially in Churchill Downs. People have to go eat. They want to have a few drinks after the races. But they kind of make it impossible on the Friday night with the Saturday looming the next morning. I mean, I just don't understand what their thought process is with this, pushing it back when they've never done that before. And, it makes
the thought process, you could disagree with it, but the thought process is from the television, who's paying for the rights to it, and they had record viewership last year, and they're trying to push it into a prime time, more.
Not record viewership on the Oaks, record viewership on the Derby.
Correct.
Viewership on the Oaks.
Yes.
So, the crowd for the Oaks is going to be the same regardless when you're looking at it from a TV viewership. You're going into prime time. You're also going against NBA and NHL playoffs that are happening tomorrow. The Canadian game is huge. That's been the most, 2 games ago, the Tampa-Montreal game was the most watched first-round game in like the last 30 years. So, horse racing is definitely going to fall under the radar if you're going prime time against NBA, NHL, and even baseball. So, I just don't understand the marketing. And, you're getting your television share, but how is that good for the consumer, the person that's actually going to the track? That's where the major crowds are on Friday and Saturday.
No, and look, I've been there before. You're right. You're right. They're going to lose some. They're going to lose some of the actual crowd. I mean, that is a long day on Saturday, man. That's a long day.
The business owners in Churchill were the ones who are complaining. I really don't care. We have a great crowd, and the Western time zone is a little different. Right. So it's not affecting that 8, 9 o'clock prime time, when people go to eat and go to party. But getting up the next morning, I mean, the first post is 8 a.m. in that range. So, Jimmy, it's always horse racing. They always have that little niche that people don't understand at times.
All right, let's get to the race, and again, the biggest thing is we found out earlier this week that the morning line favorite, Renegade, which I read Ortiz, and he's the best in the business. He had his choice. He took Renegade on the one, which traditionally has been a tough spot, but not quite as extreme since they have moved the gate away from the rail a little bit.
Yeah, because you don't have that auxiliary gate anymore. You have a full 20-horse gate. It definitely so is still a factor. You know, Irad is the best. He's going to navigate a clean trip for Renegade, but he did have his choice, like you said. And today we lost full effort. He was a scratch by Brad Cox. He'll be fine. Just a scratch with a minor bone chip, and he'll be out. So now you have even more horses that are drawing Kelly, horses like that. And, it's going to be an interesting Kentucky Derby. You don't have a standout. Renegade looks really good on paper. There's Commandment. He looks fabulous. Further ado, you know how he's working out. You have the West Coast horses with So Happy and Potante, the Puma. This is a wide-open Derby, Jimmy, and it's going to be great from a betting standpoint because you're going to light the board up if you hit a superfecta or a trifecta. And always remember, superfectas on Kentucky Derby Day are not 10 cents. They're a $1 minimum. Very important to keep in mind. So, you're making those boxes. You're going for $24.60 if you go with the 5 as opposed to $2.40 and 60 cents. And they're going to pay substantial with those increasing pools and that increasing betting minimum.
You mentioned So Happy. And coming in for Mark Glatt. Now, Mark Glatt is the first Santa Anita Derby win of his training career. And then, Charlie, Mike Smith, he's 60. Don't be picking on people at 60, Charlie, okay? Mike Smith is in the irons at 60.
Didn't Shoemaker win it at 55 or 60?
This is one of 5 horses shipping in from California, a little bit more than usual.
Yeah, definitely, and So Happy has a tremendous chance. They were just showing him on, TVG FanDuel Network, and he looked pretty good. I mean, he didn't look rattled at all. Mark Ladd is an excellent trainer. It's his first Kentucky Derby, and 25% on the year for Mark Ladd, so don't sell him short. Money Mike Smith, they don't call him that for anything. And
Money Mike Smith, baby.
This was beat Patante last time. So, Patante's a heavy hitter. Don't sell yourself short with him. It's a Bob Baffert trainee. So they always have a chance. He's working very well, and he looks good at Churchill Downs.
Here you go. Shoemaker won it. He was 55 years old on Ferdinand. You know what else about that one? It's the last time a horse in the one. I know that Smith's not riding Renegade, but that's the last time a horse in the one hole won the Kentucky Derby. It was 86.
Give me a percentage. Just with how much less of a deal is that since they had the one big gate, not the auxiliary? Is it 50% less, 20% less, 75%? I mean, what? How big of? Give me a number to give me your opinion on how less of a deal that is to have that number 1 slot.
Maybe 25%. I mean, it's very tough. You're still looking at that rail, and you have to get over a little. You have to navigate a strong trip. And definitely, if you have a speed horse, you're going to gun him from the rail. If you don't, you're going to have to definitely look for position, swing out a little bit, get off that rail, not too far off, and just navigate a good trip. And, Todd Fletcher's going to have the horse ready. Irad is hitting that 25% this year. I mean, he's just been phenomenal. If you watch the Keeneland meet, him and Brad Cox were just tearing it up at an incredible level, and just every horse basically that they combined on was a play. You couldn't throw them off of your exotics or anything. So, I think Irad is definitely the man who's capable. But keep in mind, Irad hasn't hit the board either in 9 Derby mounts in his career. So, it's the Kentucky Derby. You've seen Sonny Leone and Real Strike win the race. And, you look at it, Bind That Bird, these are horses that have minimal chances and, not the greatest of riders. Burrell was a great rider, don't get me wrong, in the Kentucky Derby and in certain surroundings. But Sonny Leone is a journeyman rider, and these guys were able to get into the winner's circle. So, definitely a lot more pressure breaking from the rail, but it's a 20-horse field. Anything could happen.
Let's put a ticket together for us. What are we looking at for the Derby?
Well, I'll tell you the truth, Jimmy. I'm looking at the Puma. I think he definitely is coming into the race pretty well. That last race against Commandment out, in the Florida Derby, I think he just moved a little too early, but I think he could definitely get the distance. Like I said, Potante, I'm definitely fearful of Bob Baffert. You look at that 57 work he put up over this past week, and just Juan Hernandez and Bob Baffert are a deadly combination. Bob Baffert this year hitting at 30%. Only 30%. And this guy's the king of the Kentucky Derby. So you're going to have to watch this horse, because I want to see how much action he takes on the board. But they're definitely two of the major hitters. And further ado, I mean, you just look at that last race in the Bluegrass, and he just dominated and crushed. But keep in mind, he did lose to the Puma in the Tampa Bay Derby, surrounded the Tampa Bay Derby with a big win at Churchill. Then he lost slightly to the Puma, and then that Bluegrass explosion. So he's definitely a horse that I have on my radar. He's been working out tremendously, and just, in my opinion, a major player. You have the buzz horse, Chief Wallaby. He's like the wise guy horse. But I haven't been seeing, they say he's a wise guy horse, but his odds actually increased over the past week in the future wagering pools. So, blinkers on, Bill Mott, Junior Alvarado. What could go wrong there? They're the same combinations as Sovereignty. So, there's four of the horses that I'm definitely focusing in on and trying to make a concise decision. But lean into the Puma a little right now, guys. Lean into the Puma.
Number 9, the Puma. Number 9, the Puma. Number 14 is the Baffert horse, Potente. And then number 18, Further Ado. And you throw it into 12, Chief Wallaby as well. So 9, 14, 18, 12 is the ones you're considering. Oaks Day or the rest of the tremendous card on Saturday. Any races that have stuck out to you?
Yeah, the Ali Sheba, my horse is returning Baeza, and definitely he's going against the Pacific, the Pegasus World Cup winner in Skippy Longstocking. So that's going to be a definite matchup that I'm looking forward to see. Baeza's first return this year. New trainer, because John Sheriff's passed away, God rest his soul. But you're getting Bill Mott and Junior Alvarado again taking over this monstrous horse. And you remember him from the Derby Trail last year. I mean, he almost beat last year Sovereignty over at Saratoga. And just a tremendous racehorse. He didn't run all that well in the Breeders' Cup Classic, but he won the Pennsylvania Derby. Like I said, Sovereignty only beat him by a length in the Jim Dandy. And he has to go against Daffy Joseph and Skippy Longstocking, who won the Pegasus and also won the Essex. So, this is going to be a great matchup. Keep your eye on Baeza. He's going to get pounded at the windows, but I definitely think he's a horse that's going to be one of the better handicap horses as we go on throughout the year. And, beating Skippy Longstocking would be a definite springboard into that. The Oaks is wide open. We're seeing a lot of scratches in the Oaks. I mean, Explorer, you have Flavian Pratt and Bob Baffert. They definitely have a chance. Meaning has a chance. The winner of the Santa Anita Oaks, Mike McCarthy, excellent conditioner with Juan Hernandez. They definitely have a chance. And, we had a few scratches, but the Buzz also always a runner. He looks pretty good with Chad Brown and Jose Ortiz. So there's three major contenders right there.
Okay. You're going fast. You're going fast. Our listeners want to try and keep track of these picks. So tomorrow's race, it's on the Oaks Day, and that is, what race is that? The Ali Sheba. Is that?
I think the Ali Sheba is the 10th or the 9th. The Oaks.
Race 9.
Yeah.
Race 9. Okay. Race 9. Ali Sheba. I'm sorry. Baeza. Baeza morning line 5-2. Morning line 5-2. Okay, the next race that you went through
is the 13th. The 13th, the Kentucky Oaks. And
the Oaks. Okay,
West Coast horse. Yeah, West Coast horse is probably going to box Meaning and Explorer.
Who in Explorer?
Meaning, MEANING.
Okay, Meaning. Okay, in an exacta box.
Right, and also we'll throw in a try box with Always a Runner. That's a Chad Brown horse. Maturing, getting better and better. Jose Ortiz in the saddle. So definitely want to keep an eye on that horse.
All right, Dwayne, on Twitter, are you going to be sharing some picks over the course of the day tomorrow and Saturday as well? Do you have time to do that?
Yeah, definitely, guys. Yeah, definitely. And I'll also text you if I get some sharp information, Jimmy, that you could supply during the day for the listeners. And, we'll always be getting information from the track. I have many sources and guys who are on the backside that if a horse looks like a standout or there's some buzz, we'll definitely be looking to pass that information on, to the listeners.
Follow Dwayne on Twitter at NYBookieDwayne. If you hadn't followed him yet, now's the time to do so. So check him out for Oaks Day, and going to be a long day on Friday and Saturday for Oaks Day and for Derby Day. Good luck, Dwayne. Knock it out at the seminar tomorrow. I know you're going to have a great weekend this weekend. Good luck to you.
Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks, Charlie. Love you guys, and good luck to you guys. And let's cash some tickets.
Yes, indeed. Let's cash some tickets. Don't forget our friends at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. If your homeowners association requires wood windows like mine did, do not go anywhere else than Relief Windows. So the gel RLS windows made with the gel Wenwood frames come with a 20-year general warranty and a lifetime limited warranty. You do not, the money you're spending on these wood windows, you do not want to be replacing these every 8-10 years like I did after the original construction of my home. And once I got the Relief windows, the RLS wood, the gel wood windows, which are built for these extreme South Louisiana weather conditions, it has been no problem. They function well, they look great, and they last. They look like they're brand new. It's been 8 to 10 years since they put them in my home. So you got to give Relief Windows a call, 288-8138. They're open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Check out all their inventory online at reliefwindows.com, from windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. Relief Windows.
Tough start for Paul Skeens. We'll update you when we come back live at the original Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LSU men's tennis coach Danny Bryan joining us at the top of the hour to preview the regional coming up this weekend for the men and the women. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Check it out over at the tennis stadium. We talked about the lopsided matchup at PNC in Pittsburgh with Paul Skeens going against a rookie. As much as a $3 favorite, he's given up 3 runs. 2 of them earned 2 home runs today for the Cardinals, who have won the first 3 games in this set, have a 3-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning. So
looks a little chilly too.
What's that?
Looks a little chilly. Just looking out, I see a lot of sleeves on in both the field and in the stands.
Braves looking for their 4-game sweep as well of Detroit. They are on top 1-0 at the end of 2. No score day doubleheader at Camden Yards in Baltimore after the Astros were rained out. Baltimore won the first game 2 nights ago in Camden Yards against the Astros. No score, middle of second. And the Rockies, again, in more runs. They get 2 in the top of the first. They have just really, they're improved. There's no doubt. They swept the Mets at New York, and this is a rubber game of this 3-game set in Cincinnati. So this split. San Francisco with 2 early on top of Philadelphia, now 2-1. Max in Miami for the Cadillac.
Doral, the Cadillac. Cam Young in the co-lead with Tom Hoagie. He's 4 through 9 holes. Scotty Scheffler is also 3 through 9. Important note there, both of them both the par 5s that are easily scoring, so they are off and running here at
live at lunch, live at the original Walk-Ons, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Walk-Ons, great place to watch games as well. So we got 7 different Major League Baseball games. We got them on over here. Again, Skeens 3-0, a rough first inning. It's been a rough series for the Pittsburgh Pirates. They've lost the first 3 in this 4-game set against St. Louis. St. Louis hot again. Braves on top of Detroit, 1-0. We've got that on over here. No score between Baltimore and Houston. That game is on. Some early scoring in Philadelphia, 2-1. San Francisco over Philadelphia. And the Rockies, 2-0. Top of the second inning in Cincinnati. So wall-to-wall Major League Baseball today. We'll continue to update. Skeens after the opening day at Citi Field against the Mets, where a walk, a bunt, an infield single, misplay ball in the outfield, and 1 ball to the wall that cleared the bases, and he has been on fire since. Again, big favorite coming in as far as the NL Cy Young, but a rough start for the Pittsburgh Pirates. All right, we've been talking about it, about the big weekend at the tennis facility this weekend. Both the men and the women hosting regionals this weekend. Friday, the semifinals for the women. For the men. Then the Saturday, the semifinals for the women, followed by the finals or the round of 32 match for the men. And then Sunday will be the final or the round of 32 for the women as well. So, Danny Bryan, head coach of the men over here. And congratulations, Coach.
Thanks,
how you
Jimmy.
doing, man?
Yeah, doing great. Excited about the weekend.
Yes, indeed. So the first thing we got to start with is when I get handed a roster and I'm seeing where everybody's from, how did you put together this roster from literally all areas of the globe?
Everywhere, yeah. I mean, that's certainly a thing in college tennis nowadays. But, ultimately it just comes down to word of mouth. Like over the years, just coaching so many players from so many different countries, that's really your in is, hopefully that the former players will say really good things about you, your program, and obviously LSU, which, that's no doubter. But, then just trying to get in touch with the guys, and it's a small world. So, we have them all over.
It's not unique to your program, obviously.
No, it's it's something that there's a lot of really good players in the U.S., but there's you have to fill quite a lot of teams throughout the country, and it's an international sport, so they definitely fill in. And there's been more and more players that over time have seen how much you can produce. How much you can develop in college, and as a route to turn pro. And with so many players in the top 100 right now that went to college, a lot of these guys around the world are starting to notice it and see the opportunity.
So tennis is like every other sport. I agree. Like, for instance, the NBA, the early declarations for the draft, it's 71. 5 years ago was 357.
Oh, wow.
So they are maintaining, the especially the ones that aren't going to get drafted, but are really good college players. And there's a lot of conversations off the field about college athletics. We get that. But if you just turn it on Saturday and watch football, it's never been better. If you just watch the tournament or you watch college basketball on Saturday, kind of the same thing with tennis. It's, the level has really
as a whole. There's always been really good players at the top end, but right now, to be top 100 in the country in the rankings, you got to be pretty darn good. It just seems like each year there's more and more guys that are coming in, and with the NIL opportunities as well, that's also bringing some guys in where they can, make the money and then they can go use it. Tennis is extremely expensive sport, so they're always looking at ways, see how they can, get some money and then continue to develop, play over the summer, hire a coach, all that kind of stuff. All the travel you have to pay for as a professional tennis player. Until you get to the ATP Tour, you're not making any money. Most of the time you're losing it.
How good did you think you were going to be this year before the season started?
To be honest, I knew we had a lot of talent. It was kind of funny. Before, when the coaches' rankings came out preseason, I was just overhearing the guys talking. I think they really thought we were going to, be top 10, top 15 in the rankings. And I kind of was like, I'm telling you, until we actually do something, I don't think they're really going to give us, that ranking. I didn't think they weren't going to rank us. We weren't in the top 25. So I felt like we certainly had a chance to do some good things. But I think that some things had to come together, and we had some new pieces that you never know how they're going to react in a college setting, college dual match, if they're going to bring, if that's going to bring the best out of them, or if they're just, some guys their level can change a lot depending on if they're playing an individual match where they're just playing for themselves. There's not like a crowd. There's not much going on. They can just keep it really simple. Other guys, they love to play, in a college match with the energy, and there's a lot of distractions.
It is not your typical tennis atmosphere.
Yeah, so
no
that's
doubt.
you don't know those kind of things, but I had a feeling we were gonna have a chance to be a pretty special team. It's
got a little Davis Cup feel to it, man. Some of these Latin American countries or whatever. It is something. A lot of talking back and forth. And also the interesting dynamic, the first thing you really recognize is you walking on the court in between points and games. And it's so that the coaching, now coaching they've liberalized the coaching at the highest level where you could communicate before you couldn't, but that part of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually like an interesting dynamic from my perspective as well as a coach. Like, these guys are used to figuring a lot of things out on their own their whole life. It's not like they've never been coached on the court. So sometimes I do feel in college you can overcoach and get these guys out of their comfort zone because they haven't been, dealing with that, and it can be a bit of a distraction. So I like to talk to the players, before the season starts, and then obviously keep that dialogue going throughout the year on like what's helping them, because ultimately that's our job, is to figure out how they're going to play best. And sometimes that means some of the guys we don't say that much to, and other guys they might need a little bit more information.
You cracked into the top 10, but one that really got my attention is when you go to number 2 Texas in Austin, and Olaf, who is I think you got all freshmen.
He's freshman of the year.
Freshman of the year in the
Mm-hmm.
conference.
Yeah.
I mean, he pulls off the deciding court on the road against number 2 Texas.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely a special night. I actually, we won the doubles. It was super windy, so like the level of play wasn't that high. But we had a couple guys really step up, and then we got a little fortunate that Olaf was down 5-2 in the third set against the number 2 or 3 player in the country. Someone who he's clinched NCAAs his freshman year. He won the deciding match, so he has some experience playing under pressure. And Olaf played a couple really good points, and I would say the guy blinked a little bit and was able to get Olaf was able to get some momentum and ultimately lead us to that huge upset. So that was definitely special.
Yeah, it's a big one there. The weather, when we're talking about, if you have to if you're forced in, how is that going to affect your bracket when we're talking about Alabama State, Pepperdine, and Michigan? Yeah,
I mean, right now, obviously it's Louisiana, so we never know what's going to happen with the weather. But right now, it looks like there's a pretty high chance of rain for tomorrow, which we don't make those decisions. Like the NCAA will have a rep here who will decide if it's indoor or outdoor. But
and the indoor's faster, right?
The same courts, to be honest, but it just someone who likes a fast court and likes fast conditions is going to prefer the indoors. To be honest, like the facility is so nice, and it doesn't really play like a old school like indoor court that's like lightning. A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's still going to help big servers because what wind and sun and all these kind of things can keep them from serving as big. So anyone who serves big is normally going to like indoor courts more. But I do think that it looks like, as of now, like Friday will probably be indoors, and Saturday looks like it's going to be like 74 and like really nice, which is shocking for this time of year.
It's going to be really, really, really nice. There's no doubt. Again, so you have to order tickets online, or can people just show up?
You have to. Well, I don't know if you can show up, but I know you can purchase them online. I'm sure you can purchase them on your phone.
LSU
on
Sports.
LSU,
Yeah, LSUsports.net. So again, you could do that, but and plenty of room. But man, you've had some crowds, huh? Yeah,
I mean, kind of like with what you were saying, what Texas really caught your eye when we beat them. I think that's happened for quite a few people where they go, oh man, this is a pretty special year that we're having, and the crowds have been picking up. I really hope this weekend we can have a huge crowd. It helps the guys so much. It helps our program, helps, from a recruiting standpoint, everyone wants to play in front of a big crowd. So hoping we can get a ton of people out there this weekend.
So all of these are played on hard courts for, the college tennis, but, and the American junior players love it. They hate getting off of anything, but so many players where you're drawing from now, whether it's Europe or Latin America, grow up on a lot of clay. Mm-hmm. Has it been... How do they embrace, playing on the hard, or they're just having all court type of game, or is it special? Is that part of your evaluation? Are they playing more junior tournaments on clay?
Yeah, it's definitely part of our evaluation. Like you can see certain players like in juniors who you're like, all right, they definitely are not looking to play aggressive, take time away, these kind of things, or they don't have a big serve or whatever that is. I would say there's also sometimes you'll see a guy who has the potential to play really well on hard, but just hasn't. Those guys are, you feel like the fall season, we can really get them to adjust to that. overall, I don't know the statistics. I know there was a big push by the USTA. Internationally they play a ton on clay, but in the U.S. I do know that they were really trying to make a push to play more tournaments on clay. I'm not exactly sure how much that's changed, but there's quite a few, but there's still loads of tournaments on hard courts.
They're talking to head coach Danny Bryan of the men's tennis team. Again, the men and the women will host regionals starting tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. So plenty of tickets available. Going to be a lot of fun. So you've put this roster together from all areas of the world. And, well, I mean, some people say you got to get to Algiers. That's kind of going to all areas of the world. But anyway, but, Edna Carboy, coming through the Aurora program. And, well, the women's coach is a homeboy as well. I mean, from Algiers as well.
Yeah, Taylor Fogelman. We grew up together, and we got hired. It's crazy that we both got hired in 2022, about 2 weeks apart. Just coming from Algiers, playing tennis, our whole lives together. It's been pretty special. And then he's had like ultimately. This is year 4 for both of us, and this is really where we've turned the program around. I feel like, and we're in a place where that's what we wanted to be when we first got hired. Now, Taylor last year really made a great run and elevated the program. They made an Elite 8 last year, and he's got a great team this year. They just they got to the finals of the SEC tournament, and the SEC and both men's and women's is so strong, and I think that If it all comes together for them, they have a shot at winning it. There's, I don't know if there's a team that's more talented than they are, and if not, there's not many. So it's going to be exciting.
Their record might be a little bit compromised or a little bit misleading because they have some of these players that are playing some of these professional tournaments during the season that will miss some of the matches. And you saw in the SEC tournament when he's got his full roster.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're as good as anybody. They're a tiebreaker away.
No, 100%. Yeah, I mean. Taylor, he's got 2 ladies that are, I don't know what they are currently. Their ranking, WTA ranking has probably dropped a little bit because they're not playing every week pro tournaments.
Right.
But they were top 200 in the world in singles. They both played in the Australian Open this year in the qualifying. And so, there's he's got to find the balance, for them. Obviously, they're a huge asset for the program. He's got them here for this run that they're about to go on. But there are certain matches where, they were able to agree that they were going to go play a pro tournament because they need to, continue to hold their ranking so that they can go to the French Open, Wimbledon, and all those kind of things. So they work together to make that happen.
So TCU out of the Big 12, Rice out of the American, and Stephen F. Austin out of the Southland coming in on the women's side. Alabama State you face up with first, and then you play – if you do advance past Alabama State, the Michigan Pepperdine winner. You are familiar with Pepperdine. Faced them in Tucson earlier this year.
Yeah, we did. We played a really tough match against them. I think the doubles we won. It was super close. I mean, the doubles a lot of times just from the scoring format is going to be close, but they're a really good doubles team. And then I think we won 4-2, but I tell you, it was a couple points here or there, and that whole match would have changed. So. They're a very strong team, and then Michigan also is a great program. They've got a really good number 1 and 2, and it'll be tomorrow if it's raining, it's going to be interesting to see Michigan play Pepperdine indoors. Obviously, that's going to be an advantage to Michigan. I would think just because of them playing indoors and Pepperdine. I would say
Michigan's played a few more matches indoors than Pepperdine.
I'm not sure. There might be an indoor court in Malibu, but I think that might just be someone who has just more money than they know what to do with.
Yeah, no indoor courts in that part of Los Angeles. This is a lot of excitement, a lot of positivity, but there was some of the more the casualties of the NIL era of college athletics, and we saw in the conference in Arkansas eliminated their men's and women's program. Your reaction, and did you see it coming?
No, I didn't see it coming. I mean, I saw what's happening in the landscape of college athletics, that something like this could happen. I don't think anyone really saw that at a school like Arkansas, an SEC school, that would happen. It's certainly, once we're done with this, I mean, I think we all need to look at, like, okay, what can we do? How can we help? We've opened the facility up. Anytime we're not using it, we like to let people come and rent courts, and it's a public facility and bring in different things. And and ultimately that is something like you can generate tons of revenue through that. The scariest part about the Arkansas deal is that they had no idea, and it wasn't like, hey, you got to raise this much money.
So they didn't see it coming.
Yeah. So at the same time as everyone's raising money for NIL, and that's the main thing, then all of a sudden you get hit with this, and that's where it's like, I think it's really important that all tennis coaches, actually all Olympic sports, non-revenue sports, need to be figuring out what is the administration looking for, and if that needs to change from just strictly like, right now it's a bit, we just make huge push to help with the NIL side of it, but like, do we need to change that? Those are questions, and once the season's over, that I certainly will be asking.
Tickets are $5. Go to lsusports.net. Just go check it out. It's going to be some great stuff this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, both the men and women's regional here at LSU. All right, man. Good luck to you.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. Excellent stuff. Danny Bryan, LSU men's coach, with this big weekend. They got a great chance to advance deeper into the tournament. Both teams got a great chance to make a run through this bracket of 64. We'll take a time out. We're live here at the Original Walk-Ons, live at lunch on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the Original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
And we're also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial advisors. When you're planning for retirement, you want to have some solid answers. No surprises. Talk to Phil Fontenot and his staff, and they can do for you what they've done for our family, which is give you that peace of mind. Answer all your questions and make a plan, no matter where you are in life, no matter what your age, no matter what your income level. You'll find something that fits your family's needs and will give you some peace of mind, so that when you come to that time in your life when you're ready to retire, you know what you need, what your expectations are, and they'll be met. Set up an appointment at coastalcapitaladv.com. coastalcapitaladv.com. Member FINRA SIPC. Paul Skeens gives up another run. Now, top of the third, 2 outs, 4-0 Cardinals. Skeens 2 2/3, 5 hits, no walks, and 4 runs, but only 2 of them are earned. He has given up a pair of home runs. Strange things going on at the Cadillac. What's more unlikely, okay, that Scotty Scheffler would go back-to-back bogeys, that Jordan Spieth would be on the lead, no longer on the lead, but almost on the lead, or that Adam Scott would hit the wrong ball, Max?
Yeah, I didn't see this happen, but
that's your pick, Max.
I picked out Adam Scott, and of course he's going to find a way to hit the wrong golf ball. It sounds like it wasn't one of his playing competitors. It was just, I guess, a ball that was left behind at some point this week in the rough. And next thing you know, he's hitting his 5th shot from the fairway into par 5. That's not very good. So, yes, he doubled. He is now 2 over for the day through 9 holes. And we mentioned just a couple minutes ago about how Cam Young was 4 under and had not birdied any of the par 5s on the front 9. And Scotty Scheffler was 3 under without birding any of the par 5s on the front 9. Well, they are playing the same 2 holes, 10 and 11. They're, I believe, in the same group. Cam Young birdied 10 and 11, and Scotty Scheffler bogeyed 10 and 11. So he now has a solo lead over Jordan Spieth, who you mentioned, who's 5 under through 9. So Cam Young, this might be his year, honestly. This might be his breakout year. He finally won for the first time on the PGA Tour last year at the Wyndham. He switched golf balls. He has problems spinning the ball too much. He had a double dot from the Titleist that spins very low. It's a low-spin golf ball. His career has completely, taken a rise since then. He won the Players, of course, but it seems like the golf courses in the majors this year are going to suit him. So we'll see if he ends up winning this week at Doral. Obviously, Wes had him earlier this week. But, man, Cam Young, it might be his year this year based on what we've seen so far.
Well, he's hitting the right golf ball every time, which is a really important.
That's important, yes.
Spieth had an eagle at 8. So what happened? Forgive my ignorance, but you take a 1-stroke penalty and you go back and you find your ball, or you take a 2-stroke? What happens when you hit the wrong golf ball?
I believe it's a 2-shot penalty, and then you go back to where you originally were.
And so I'm just trying to follow. I know this has happened before, but it's obviously not common. He gets up to wherever the ball lands, looks at it, and goes, "Uh-oh, that's not mine."
Correct.
2-stroke penalty and go back to where you were.
Better go find it.
Go find it.
Now you're hitting number 4 instead of number 2 from where you should have been hitting 2 anyway.
This is kind of stuff that happens at the local course with a bunch of guys slamming some beers on a Saturday afternoon on the PGA.
It doesn't happen often.
I don't remember any time I played golf somebody hitting the wrong ball. I got to tell you.
Well, a lot of people you play with probably wouldn't admit to it, to be honest. I've seen it before. Good on him for calling it on himself, but that's what they should do in the pros for sure. But it is interesting, and I heard the rough wasn't that thick this week, that it was kind of down, the Bermuda rough. But sometimes you just see a ball. I'd assume for the pros, if you see your shot go left and the other 2 in your group go right, and you find one Titleist ball and you play a Titleist and it's number 4, you just assume, oh, that's mine.
That's
he
why
didn't
you mark
really
your balls.
Right, but I guess my guess is, he's a veteran, right? He's been on the tour for 30 years, so it seems like he would
Max
inspect
gets
his
his
ball
little
a
pin
little
out
bit. But
right before we tee off. He's marking the balls.
little red Sharpie, red dot,
Yep,
number
yep.
3, yep.
When you said Titleist, I'm just thinking about that scene from Seinfeld where George, pulls the golf ball out of the whale's blowhole, and he said, Kramer's like, "Is that a Titleist?" "Oh, yeah, okay." Oh, yeah. Well, at any rate.
Skeen's giving up another run.
Yeah, he's 2 of the runs are unearned, but he's given up 2 homers as well, so.
Oh, this is another unearned run?
Yeah.
Wow.
The homers were.
Shohei, one of the 2 runs he gave up earlier this week was unearned, so that's why his ERA is still historically low.
Jimmy, it wasn't cold on opening day, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Just noticing, it's everyone's in jackets there today, so I don't know if the temperature is giving Skeen some problems with his grip or whatever.
Man,
I'm reaching, but it's 2 bad starts that are uncharacteristic.
He pitched in some cold weather in games last year. No, he's just off, man. I mean, look, he's
human.
He is human, absolutely. And
it's 48 degrees, by the way, there.
Okay.
Just in case you're wondering.
Right. Well, it was. He's pitched in. This just in. There's a little cool spell coming through. We know that. So it's going to be chilly tomorrow, even around here in May, of all places. So.
Air Force Academy is still in Colorado, right?
Yeah, Colorado Springs. Yeah.
A little chilly up there from time to time.
Yeah. So he's just. There's never been a pitcher that said they had their best stuff all the time. It just doesn't happen. And that's why when you overmanage sometimes and you bring in reliever after reliever after reliever. Every pitcher you bring in, it increases your chances that you're going to run across one of them that doesn't have good stuff. So.
Yeah. Hey, but while you were talking to Coach, and I was listening to that, but I was watching the game, so they were showing Tony Vitello. The Giants had picked it up after what was an awful start. They got a 2-1 lead today, but
2-1 now.
2-1. Okay. You follow this a little closer than I do. Any scuttlebutt about how his first month has gone? There, a couple games under 500, but just how this experiment is going. How his. Maybe nothing. Maybe it's too early.
I think we touched on this a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't really heard anything else. And to not hear a whole lot, because it is probably a positive as far as he's concerned. The initial report was that he was the players were, everything was fine. He wasn't coming in with this rah crap, that college crap. You think Rafael Devers is going to respond to that? But
not too well.
But surprisingly, and they're sort of an off the radar team this year as well, because they're not expected to do a whole lot.
Yeah.
They start off. They're probably not going to be a 500 team. They're going to have their better days and others, but still, no. Kind of to his credit, it seems like he has adapted and blended in a little bit, which we didn't know was possible with him because he's so full of piss and vinegar.
Yeah.
Not feeling the gamesmanship and, different things to try and, well, he's competing too. I mean, is he aggravating the hell out of his opponent?
Yeah.
Some people say it's Bush League on some of the, whether it's him or Mangione or who's the boy that used to be at Cohen.
Yeah.
Even Gillespie has been accused of, sort of tactics and stuff like that. But I'm not. Nobody's in the business of pleasing your opponent. So.
There were a lot of reasons to doubt why this would work. The biggest reason that it might, that in my mind, was he went through a pretty lengthy process. This lasted more than a week, which for hiring a major league manager, with Buster Posey, who had a Hall of Fame major league career, but also was a phenomenal college baseball player at Florida State. Mm-hmm. So of anybody that reached the highest levels of the sport at both the college and the pro level that is an executive now, Buster fits the role. So he knows the transition. And
Charlie, we talked about it with Danny just now too. The level of tennis, it's all across the board. I talked about the NBA. The early declared entries into the draft. 71, 5 years ago, 357.
Yeah.
20% of what it was. The better players to stay in, the better players. The college baseball is no, and you finally updated your scholarship allotment. So it's so much closer. And now you can get paid and don't have to take. But you got better travel accommodations. It's a better quality of life in college baseball than it is in the pros. And in the minor leagues.
And how many guys off that 2014 that won the national championship at Tennessee do you think will eventually be in the majors? 8. In
the majors for that Tennessee team.
Eventually, yeah.
Ooh, that's high. That's a high number.
I'm saying that that was a very talented team.
Okay. You know better than me.
Well, he's coaching near pro.
No, it's close. The gap is tightened.
Yes,
and
that's my point.
The money is everything. Yeah. It's the quality of coaching. We never used to see major league assistants come and join college staffs. It's a regularity now.
Yeah.
Don't forget our friends at Go Chevrolet in LaPlace and Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine, Go Chevrolet West in Plaquemine, and Go Ford in Waveland, Mississippi. My buddies Lee Carney and Nick Richard doing a great job. We talk about the concierge service department, super convenient, certified body shop. Mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing. I don't just talk about the great folks over at the Go Automobile Dealership family. My Chevy Tahoe comes from Go Chevrolet, part of the Go Automobile Dealership family.
Live at the original Walk-Ons Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, let's go out to Las Vegas. This is our last visit with our boy Matt Humans before he got.
He gets the summer off.
Yeah, Charlie.
He doesn't
really work hard. So, Matty, how you doing, buddy? Good draft for you.
Charlie, I'm going to take a leave of absence without pay for the rest of the summer. And I tell you what, I was looking for something to bet tonight, so I was hoping Hanny could break this game down for me. How about the St. Louis Battlehawks at the Louisville Kings tonight? What do you got?
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a bet tonight, and
okay.
I don't like to take the Alabama Crimson Tide against Vanderbilt tonight at home, minus 135, I think.
He's picking with his heart there.
Yeah, I love Alabama.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Matt, it kind of sounds, we say, well, this year's draft is a little bit tougher. We don't know, but in the end, we still have a good draft. It's just kind of becoming a regularity for you?
Well, it was a good draft. It was not great. There's a couple things I wish had gone differently, but that's true with life in general, right? So I would say it was a solid winner, and the draft, it was different for me this year in a lot of ways because most of my bets were late. I think I ended up with 16 prop bets. I think the week before the draft, when I talked with you guys, I might have had 3 or 4. And I think I made about 10 bets in the last 48 hours before the draft. So that's how it's changed a lot. These markets, the betting markets for the draft, don't go up as early as they used to. A lot of books don't really put much up until the last week before the draft or the last weekend before the draft. And, typically the information gets better the closer you get to the draft anyway. But I think that's why I had fewer plays. Instead of around 30 plays, I had about, like I said, 15 or 16 this year. But it was the over 1.5 quarterbacks was a big deal. And, about a month before the draft, I heard Adam Schefter say he was very confident Ty Simpson was going to be a first-rounder. And then there was more information coming out that the Cardinals and the Rams are going to compete for Simpson. There's got to be competition in the market for a quarterback to go first round, so it was there. And then that was a big key to the draft for me. Under 5.5 wide receivers, that was a sweat, but it got there. And there was a lot of other stuff that happened. But next year's draft's going to be crazy. And you guys know it. I'm sure you've talked about it. With all the quarterbacks who could possibly go in the first round next year, that's going to be a really interesting betting draft.
Yeah, we talked to Troy Macker from Bet Rivers, and they said they were a small loser on that. I heard Johnny Avello from DraftKings, and that's where we did our draft day show over here at the DraftKings outlet, said that was good. And the biggest hit they took was something that most people have up for months and months, and that's the first overall pick with Mendoza coming in at 40-1 in company. But and then Randy McKay filled us in that FanDuel's limits were a little bit larger than usual. So, I know you don't get FanDuel and DraftKings in Nevada, but at least for us and a lot of people outside of Nevada, DraftKings and FanDuel sound like there's still going to be, and Bet Rivers, business as usual with the draft. So at least we'll have that.
Yeah, Bet Rivers in the market as well as FanDuel and DraftKings. Like I said, I ended up making a lot of draft bets at those books, but obviously we got to find different ways to bet that stuff out of state. And if it weren't for FanDuel and DraftKings, the market for the NFL draft would be pretty weak. I mean, it would be bad because in Nevada it's really bad. And anyway, but you're right about that. I've heard a lot of bookmakers whine, we never win on the draft. We don't want to book it. Johnny Avello at DraftKings said small winner for them on the draft. And, it's not a guaranteed loser. The draft is not going to be a guaranteed loser for bookmakers. And I think we all get tired of hearing the bookies whine about it. But I like the fact that Johnny Avello and DraftKings, a couple other places step up and book it. Chuck Esposito at the Red Rock in Vegas is one of the few guys out here who does. And I think Chuck said he had a small winner on the draft, too.
You look at the Derby? You going to have any action on the Derby Saturday?
You know what? We had your boy Dwayne Colucci on the show Tuesday night, and I say this every year, but it's the truth. I don't hype it up for no reason. Dwayne Colucci hosts the best Derby seminar in Las Vegas every year, and he has for a long time. He's got Bob Ike, who's sharp as gets in Southern California among horse players. Bob is going to be there with Jay Pribman, who's at the Daily Racing Form for a long time, and those guys, they break down the tape. This is what I like. They have the video of all the Derby prep races, and they break down the tape, analyze all the horses. And when you get done with that, you feel like you know a hell of a lot more about the Derby field than you did when you walked in there. So I got to give props to Colucci because he does a great job setting up this seminar every year. Dwayne, when he was on our show the other night, he didn't really have a lot of conviction behind the plays he was going to have yet. I think it was a little too early in the week. We've got Bob on our show tonight, and got a couple other horse handicappers on. I've got some ideas. I mean, I want to hear what you like, Jimmy. I like 6. I like 8. I like 18. But I still need to do a lot of work in this race tonight. You know what? The Chief Wallaby, I don't know if you like this horse or not, but Chief Wallaby sounds like a lot of wise guys going to end up on that horse. What do you like?
Well, I'm not gonna put Renegade on top, but I will definitely have Renegade in my trifectas at second and third. Irad Ortiz has had his choice of multiple horses. He's yet to win. He's not even close. He's the best jockey in the business, and the number one gate is not as extreme of a disadvantage as it used to be. So I'm not worried about So Happy a little bit. I know he's the winner of the one of 5 to come out of California. He was the winner of the Santa Anita Derby, but kind of so much inexperience from the trainer, from that whole group. No inexperience from Mike Smith. He's 60, and a trainer with him. But, yeah, Junior Alvarado's had a nice one. Bill Mott, Chief Wallaby at 12. Morning Line, Morning Line 8-1 now. He's currently 10-1. 10-1. So we'll see about that. But I'm gonna lean on Michael Baychak, will be with us tomorrow. I'm telling you, yeah, he's not lacking in confidence, but I will give him credit. Chris Massaro is a very good horse handicapper. So I'll put all of our contributors into it. The only thing I'm worried about Colucci. So when you go on Friday night to a seminar, do you address him as Professor Colucci, or is it like is it a collegiate atmosphere?
That's kind of like Daniel Snyder used to be. He demanded you refer to him as Mr. Snyder. You got to refer to him as Mr. Colucci when you show up, Mr. Colucci. But Chris Massaro, actually, I hit this last year, and Chris did too. Chris hit it a lot bigger, but we both hit the Superfecta in this race a year ago. And I took 2 horses that my brother gave me. My brother loves horse handicapping. And he's very good. He gave me 2 that he loved last year. He's not done with his Derby analysis yet. I just hit him up last night and said, "What's going on, dude? It's Wednesday night. Let's go." And I got two from that Dwayne Colucci seminar last year and 2 from my brother, and hit that Superfecta. And Massaro had the same thing. He hit it pretty big last year. I don't know what Chris likes yet. I haven't really determined what I like yet, but you got to play the Derby. That's why I say every year the pot is so big, and there's a chance to hit such a big ticket. I hit one of the biggest scores of my life in the Derby about 15 years ago. So I mean, you got to play this, and you got to play it pretty big.
It's hard to win 6, 7, 8 horse races, much less 20. But if you do pop it, you pop it good. It was a lot of short prices on. It was kind of chalky. Was it Super last year? So there was a pop, but I think was that the one that came up that the computer guys got to as well? So I'm not sure. It's much less impactful on such a big pari-mutuel pool like this for them to be. They're the story of horse racing right now. That was when Massaro's, you don't know what you're talking about, when I was telling him that the horse was 16-1, 18-1. It went off at 6-1. I said, I watched the race. I'm here. So anyway, but
I don't hate Commandment, the Florida Derby winner. At the 7-1 morning line. Don't one 4 out of 5 races, won the Florida Derby. I don't hate him.
Yeah. So, but we're looking forward to it. So I'm headed down and gonna hunker down for Oaks Day tomorrow as well. So no, but Michael's featured on Barstool Sports, so his breakdown of the Derby. So he'll be with us tomorrow. Massaro will be with us tomorrow as well for the show. So I guess, Matt, I don't know when we'll see you again, but talk to you. But I will definitely see you for the second weekend at Del Mar, huh?
Maybe. I'll tell you more about that. I'll tell you more about that later. We got something in the works in July, but I'll talk to you about that at some point.
One other question. That? Does your brother eat broccoli?
Oh, hell no.
Don't you come from an agricultural part of the country, huh?
You know what? There's a long story behind that. I'll tell you about that some other time, too. But you know what? I was going to mention to you guys that I was at the Golden Knights game last night. I don't know what it's like for you guys out there. I know Jimmy likes to go to bed early sometimes. Did you guys actually stay up and watch that? Playoff hockey when it goes into overtime is great. But that game ended probably about, 1 o'clock your time, too? What time was it? Yeah.
Roughly, yeah. It was just a little bit before 1, and we had the Mammoth. And
Randy gave us 4-1. That's the only one he missed.
They tie it with less than a minute to go in regulation and send it to overtime, and they score a shorthanded goal on us in the extra period to beat us. So I took that one a little hard at 1 in the morning.
But Matt, is that atmosphere as good as it appears on TV? I mean, those hockey atmospheres. Yeah.
Incredible atmosphere. I went to an Anaheim Ducks game last year, and I could not believe the difference between Vegas and Anaheim. Vegas atmosphere is so much better for hockey games, but they put it on like a Vegas show, too. And the fans obviously are a little bit spoiled here because the Golden Knights been so good for all 9 years of their existence. But I will say last night, they almost blew the roof off the place, and Vegas scored in the final minute of regulation when they had to pull the goalie, and then scoring shorthanded late. That was an incredible game last night, and you guys would probably agree that NHL playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, are so much better than pretty much what we're seeing across the board in the NBA playoffs right now.
Well, the NBA playoffs have been, I don't know. I don't watch one game during the regular season. I don't miss a dribble during the postseason. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
You're watching a lot of blowouts, I can tell you that. A lot of bad basketball in the East.
and that's why I think the Celtics and their approach, I mean, it's perimeter oriented. They're going to be hot sometimes. They're going to be not so much. So we will see. But I have never even been to an NHL game, much less a playoff. But I've been more and more. I'm kind of watching every year a little bit more because in the era of the professional athlete, do they care? Are they playing all out? Are they tough? Man, these guys. I mean, I think it was game 2 of the opening series. I mean, all 3 games they had a fight in less than 5 minutes in. I mean, it looks like it's fun stuff. Matt, we will reconnect when we get closer to football season, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt.
Sounds good, guys. All right, see you.
All right, Jimmy, you'll be out tomorrow. Safe travels down the road, and we'll come back here and wrap it up here at the original Walk-Ons. Burbank and Nicholson, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, one last golf update. My time machine must work, Max. Jordan Spieth's on the lead.
Solo lead now, 7 under through 11. He is 4 under on his last 4 holes. He is on a par 5, the 12th, the last par 5 of the day. So another chance, perhaps, to make a birdie, and he's doing it in ways that maybe you're not so used to, Jimmy or Charlie. He's hitting fairways for the most part. Well, I say that he's actually 5 of 10 now. For the day, so 50%. That's not even that good, but he is hitting the ball well. He's chipping around the greens, putting around the greens, and he's holed a couple shots now from off the green today. So, look, I don't know if he's going to play next week at Quail Hollow. We're seeing a lot of golfers. Some like to play their way into majors. The PGA Championship's in 2 weeks. Scotty's decided he's going to play this week, take the week off next week when they're at Quail Hollow, and then play at Aronimink in 2 weeks' time. I'm not sure if Spieth plans to play next week, but this is a great start for somebody who is trying to go in and complete the career Grand Slam.
Be a good way to break the slump of not winning the tournament to win
Wouldn't
that one.
Be something, huh?
That one more than anything. Cardinals lead the Pirates 4-1. Skeens 4 in the third inning, 6 hits, 4 runs, but only 2 earned. No walks and 8 strikeouts. Tomorrow we are at Rufino's. We got Kentucky Derby previews. Lots of stuff coming up with SEC baseball this weekend. See you there. Stay tuned for Hunt on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.